ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
Browning's having a terrific run. The first three to qualify. You betcha! Not the first three. It's a 10:01 or something. Oh boy, We've got one. We've found one.
That was Rohan Browning at the Tokyo Games 2021. It was a heck of a time for the sprinter. He just ran the fastest ever 100 by an Australian at the Olympics. He hoped, no, expected. Bigger things were coming, but success is rarely a linear progression in sport. When Australian Athletics announced its team for the Tokyo World Champs starting next weekend, a lot of the focus was on another sprinter, Gout Gout. You might have heard of him. But it's Browning, not the teenager, who will contest the blue-ribboned 100 metres. There's a sense of fate for the sprinter. He's joining us to talk about his journey of ups and downs, what he's seeing of Gout's ride up, and why Australian athletics is enjoying a golden age. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Rohan Browning is really fast, and he's going to take those skills to the Tokyo World Championships in athletics. Rowan, you're returning to the city that was maybe home to possibly one of your favourite ever moments. How does that sit with you? Is that something you've considered ahead of this meet?
It certainly is. I'm actually reminded of every day. Right now we're up in Cairns. We're at a training camp, and it's exactly the same as what we did just before the Tokyo Olympics. So I feel like I'm retracing my steps.
If you think back to the way that you left Japan way back in 2021, what was your expectation around what would come next, and what have been the realities, and did they marry up?
Certainly not. I think I had this big breakthrough in 2021 where I ran that 10:01 at the Olympic Games, and I think I just naturally thought next would be sub-10 Australian record, and all the the fame and riches would follow, so to speak. But there definitely hasn't been the case. I think I've had a few years where I've sort of been hampered by injury and been a little more stagnant than I would have liked, and I think that progression in sport is very rarely as linear as you would hope for. But things are shaping up well. I've had the best preparation for major championships that I've ever had, and I think all my training data suggests that I'm in good shape to hopefully have that breakthrough.
Can you talk to us about some of the challenges you've had over the last sort of 4 years since the Tokyo Games? What's sort of been some of the more challenging moments for you over that period?
Well, I mean, I think sport is all about trial and tribulation. I've learned many, many lessons along the way, and I think just chalking everything up as a learning experience has been very important for me, and it's the attitude I sort of try to carry forward. I think just injury, for the most part, is what has sort of hampered my progress. I've had a few injuries over the years which have sort of derailed certain seasons. I had somewhat infamous trip to in the relay at the Commonwealth Games in 2022 where I fell over, got the team DQ'd. So that was definitely something I had to move past, and that was actually the last time I ran in the relay team, and now I'll be back in the relay team this year. So I'm actually really looking forward to that as well.
I'm interested to know, you mentioned the fact that all the training data is really encouraging for you. How fast are you hoping to run over the course of the meet in Tokyo?
Well, I equalled my PB at the national championships this year, 10:01. The Australian record's 9:93, and that's something that is firmly in my sights. I think that would represent a big improvement, over the course of a single championship. But, I think that really is the goal. I think that in this day and age, sub-10 isn't enough. Like, the event is just so deep globally. So I think I would like to progress through the rounds. You have to be in the final to even have a sniff at a medal. And I think to be at that level, I'd need to be running sort of around that, if not sub-Australian record. So that's certainly what drives me.
So what do you need to do in order to make that jump? Because we're talking about infinitesimal amounts of time, but you're someone who's obviously very experienced now. You've been around the block. I know that you've done a lot of work from a science standpoint. So how do you is it just as simple as executing everything absolutely perfect between now and when you line up?
I think so. I think that there's just high value, sort of high margin areas in my race, namely in particular the first sort of 3 steps out of the blocks. I think that's really what's going to, for me, set it up, allowing me to hit that sort of maximum velocity as late as possible and then decelerate the least amount possible. I mean, I think it's easy to overcomplicate this sport. Look, to your point, I've been very, very fortunate to be really well supported by Athletics Australia and the New South Wales Institute of Sport. And for a long time, I've worked with people who are very data focused. And I'm not particularly. I'm more of a vibes guy. I like to go on feel rather than by the numbers. But I've been very lucky to be able to assemble a really good team around me, and I think that for me, if I can get out of the blocks well, be patient through the phase of the race, I think that I sort of have all the weapons to make that big breakthrough that I've been looking for.
Gout Gout's really captured the public's imagination. He's contesting the 200. I think casual sports fans will tune into the event and wonder if he's going to win. He's got the 20th fastest time in 2025, 20:02. Noah Lyles recently ran 19:63. Can you maybe help us step inside the sprinting ecosystem and explain what a reasonable expectation is for a teenager like Gout Gout for a meet like this?
Well, I think for somebody like Gout, he's obviously an incredible generational type talent. So I am not going to be putting any limit on what he can achieve. I think he is a fantastic athlete, but at the same time, he's only 17 or 18. Major championships are a different beast. And I think they definitely tend to reward experience. And I suppose for context, Usain Bolt, or don't quote me. You will quote me on this, but I don't think Usain Bolt even made the final in 2004 at his first Olympics. In 2008 he broke the world record and won it. So, and he was a teenager in '04, I believe. I could be rewriting history here, but the point is, you can't expect a teenager to win the thing. If he does, it'd be pure magic. But he's got a long time ahead of him in his career, so it doesn't all have to happen this year.
As you say, you're a vibes kind of guy, and he's drawn a lot of extra great vibes to athletics in this country. What's the sense around other Australian athletes? Is that something the team is absolutely loving and feeding off, or is it kind of just not really a consideration?
I wouldn't say it's a massive consideration. I think that in an individual sport like this, everyone's sort of in their own lane and focused on doing their own thing. I think it probably makes up one of the many faces around a team camp that you would see. And I think everybody's very supportive. We have a great sort of team culture. And I think people probably, respect him for the talent that he is and the person that he is. And there have always been a lot of superstars around the Australian athletics team, whether it was Sally Pearson or, now you have superstars like Nina Kennedy, the Olympic gold medalist. I think that's the thing in this sport, right, is hype is one thing and then like actual achievement is the other. And we have medalists and gold medalists in this team. So there's lots of talent around and the environment is good. I feel like we are sort of at the start of this golden age for Australian athletics leading into the Brisbane Games.
And I want to talk about that golden age in just a moment. Just one last one on Gout. As someone who's lived a kind of a version of his journey, as you sort of spoke about, bursting onto the scene, young age, lots of attention, do you have at all a sense, a kind of a worry for him? Worry is probably the wrong word, but I think you understand what I'm trying to push to.
Yeah, I do understand. I think that you can foresee risk. I think you can foresee the downside of massive amounts of hype and how that might impact on a young man. I feel like my impression from the outside is that he's been very well managed and, not pushed to take on too much load too soon. He seems like a very humble person in my experience with him. So I think that it really is the most important thing. So no, I wouldn't have particular concerns for him.
You mentioned the term golden age or golden generation. The sprinting crop is insane in Australia right now. You, Gout, Lachlan Kennedy, who's out unfortunately due to injury, Josh Azzopardi, Leah O'Brien, Tori Lewis, Ella Connolly in the women's. What is driving this sort of explosion, this glut of sprinters? It sort of was a dearth situation for us for so long, and all of a sudden it feels like we have almost an oversupply.
It is funny how that seems to happen. I feel like there's this sort of cultural phenomena. I think, great coaching across the board and just also this cultural phenomena. Certainly for me, there was a long period where I was the only Australian making teams in the men's 100 meters, and now all of a sudden we're in this situation where in the next year or two, we could fill all three spots available to Australians, plus have guys missing out who might qualify. It's a great position to be in. We haven't been in this place before. I think certainly this sudden emergence of talent has woken me up from a bit of an apathetic slumber. I think it's made me realize, when guys like Lachie Kennedy are running quick at the start of the year and they're going to World Indoors and winning silver medals, you realize very quick that you can't keep sort of taking your position for granted at the top of the Australian sprinting totem pole. Guys like Kennedy, guys like Gout, they mean that you just have to be performing all the time. So I think that will just lead to an even greater uptake in the sport and hopefully we see these talents sort of come through the junior ranks.
Can you see medals in the future for this group? I mean, 4x1 seems like it's going to be a heck of a team if you're casting ahead, even at this World Championships, yes, but even ahead to perhaps the Los Angeles Olympics.
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, those two guys we talked about won't be involved in the relay team at this World Championships, to my understanding. I just think there's just amazing amounts of depth. I think we've got a great team right now, and I think we have unprecedented depth. So I'm certainly excited, and I'm hoping to be around for a long time to come yet.
Rohan Browning, thanks so much for your time. We'll be cheering you on from home.
My pleasure. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks to Channel 7 for the extra audio used in this episode. And that concludes a little weekend bonus edition of ABC Sport Daily. Catch you on Monday.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.